Welcome to the Work, Wealth, and Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and this podcast is your guide to start creating a lifestyle by design. From entrepreneurship, money and finance, taxes and residencies, and everything in between, this show highlights the nuances of a true global citizen lifestyle. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Work, Wealth, and Travel Podcast. So, this is going to be a super honest episode, and a few things are changing with the podcast. Nothing major, but I, oh gosh, there's been so much going on. And let me just start with the changes because I feel like that is easier. And then I can dive into a life update and how everything is going. But this is going to be a pretty short episode. So, business is the business is really growing. It's been so interesting to see how it has grown over just the last year, and so much has changed, and I'm so grateful for it. But I was literally just doing some work and I was going through Instagram in a beneficial way. I follow some people who really inspire me to do better. And so I like to call that like my creeping in a good way, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm the only person who does this, but it inspires me to do better in my business, in life, as a global citizen, as a traveler, in all of the things when I see other people who have something similar to what I have and living their dream and on the next level. So I was creeping in a good way. And it was a little bit of a reality break, but it was also just such an inspirational break as I was in the middle of work on a Saturday morning. It is 12:30 on a Saturday morning in the middle of work. So definitely not your typical job that I do. But I have felt overwhelmed to a degree in the last few months, but weeks specifically with the podcast because things are growing so much. And I feel like the Monday episodes that I do, which are the solo episodes, are so beneficial if you are looking to listen about a certain topic. And if you're interested in, getting second, third, fourth, whatever it may be, residencies, citizenships, optimizing your tax, like all of those things, I feel like the Monday episodes, because that is what I like talking about the most. And that's exactly what I help my clients do. But I feel like those are very specific topics to the Monday episode. So, the change that I think is going to be happening after this Monday episode, so really going into the Christmas holiday season and beyond for 2024, is that there is going to be 2 to 3 episodes per week. Right now, there are 3 episodes per week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the Wednesday, Friday are going to be staying the same. It's going to be Wednesday as a guest episode and Friday as the Digital Nomad Digest segment with myself and with Cami. Gotten so much good feedback on those episodes that drop every Friday. But the Monday episode, it is, as the business has grown, it's been a lot for me to put out 3 episodes per week. First of all, every time I mention to anybody that I have 3 episodes out per week, they literally do like the biggest double take in the world. And they just think like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Like, I don't think I could sustain that. And it was sustainable for a time. But now it's going to be 2 to 3 episodes per week. There will sometimes be a Monday episode and there will sometimes not be a Monday episode. And I like to keep my Monday episodes pretty fresh. My Wednesday episodes are all pre recorded, but my Monday episodes in the past, they have all been recorded within a week or less of their release. So they're all pretty up to date, new information, new life updates, new whatever it may be on that week's episode. It's all pretty recent. And as the business has grown, it has been difficult for me to put out. And if you are a business owner, like you know this for sure, difficult for me to put out so much content. Our world lives around content, our digital world, that is. But I put out 1 to 2 new YouTube episodes per week. And then I was doing 3 podcast episodes per week, and that is completely different content than what is on YouTube. So that's so much long form content and editing right there. I do have a team to help with YouTube, which is awesome because I could not do that on my own. But it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. I do have some podcast help, but there's so much that still depends on me. And then that's just the long form content. The short form content is a whole nother story. Of course, it doesn't take so much time to create, but I find myself being less inspired to create short form content because the topics that I talk about really are topics that you have to dive into and you have to have a longer form piece of content. Something that's 10 seconds or even 30 seconds is just not going to dive into the same level of detail as what I want to talk about. And if you are interested in likely what you're wanting to hear as well. So while short form takes up less time, it's is something that takes up so much more of my brain space sometimes because it's like, how am I going to fit everything into this short, tiny little piece of content? So that is how I've been feeling about content creation lately. Like I said, I know if you are a business owner, you have 100% been in the same boat when it comes to content. But what is interesting is, and we all know this, but it's very interesting to actually see this in action in play. So, we were on public transport in Peru, going across the city, living life, enjoying, exploring. It's been so much fun to be here and to see the city. Watch my Peruvian YouTube vlog. I'll link it below if you want to actually see Peru and kind of the foreigner area and things to do. And like I am shocked by how much I love this city. I really wish we had more than a month here, but we will be leaving this week because we have other plans in the books. But anyways, so it's been really interesting seeing firsthand glance because usually we're in Ubers or like obviously on planes it's a bit different because you don't have internet connectivity, but taking the public transport, exploring the city through bus. I love like whizzing by on a bus, like going so fast and just seeing the whole city. Like it's so fun. I guess you can do the same in an Uber. But it's really interesting to see when we're on public transit how people are interacting with their phone. And I don't know why this is something that I never realized before, but it's been really interesting being on public transit and not having my phone because we don't have data. So that's another reason why Uber is a challenge. We don't have data. We just never got around to it because we're only here for a month. And so at this point, it's a little bit late in the game. So we're not on our phones. We're looking around at this huge bus full of people, and every single person is consuming some sort of content. And so I will say it's content that they're consuming or WhatsApp, which is not content, but you don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they're sending content back and forth to each other. Who knows? So, literally, on every single bus ride we've been on, here in Peru specifically, and I know that this translates over to the rest of the world, every single person on the bus is consuming some sort of content. It's usually TikTok or Instagram. There have been a few people on YouTube or they're on WhatsApp. And so to me as a business owner and as basically a full-time content creator at this point for the business, it's really interesting to see that. And we all know that, but to just look around and take a glance at what is happening within an arm's range of you and on this whole bus, people are consuming content. And most people, they will go to work. They will probably be consuming content there because they are bored. They want to numb their minds, whatever it looks like on their commute home or to work, they're consuming content. They make dinner, they interact with their family, they're on their phone still consuming more content after dinner or TV or Netflix or whatever that may be. It's so interesting to just see at a firsthand glance how our world really does revolve around content. And for me as an entrepreneur specifically, how I really don't consume a lot of content, I will say if anything, like, for sure, YouTube is where I consume the most content, but every piece of content I consume, I'm learning more or learning different perspectives. For me, there's always a point to consuming the content, which is why I really like YouTube. But it's been really interesting for me to see how these people are consuming content and how it's become such a normal thing because for me, it's really not that normal. I'm recording podcasts, I'm recording YouTube videos, I'm putting out blog posts, I'm doing client work, I'm emailing. Like, I am not consuming content all the time, but a lot of other people are. And it's interesting for me the perspective of wanting to be the creator of the content and to be the person making money and having a business around the content rather than being the person who is consuming the content and working for somebody else, for whatever you're doing, if you're consuming a content at a grand scale, you probably are wanting to numb your brain at some point or to escape from whatever the instantaneous reality or current reality that you have is. And that's not the person I want to be. That's not the business that I want to build, of course. I want to be on the other side of it. I want to be the creator behind it. And so it's been really interesting to see my long form content grow and to see that as a reality. But it was just very interesting and a really great reality check because I don't usually surround myself with people who are consuming content all the time. But when you go into a public place, and especially somewhere like for a commute home, you really do see how life revolves around content these days, how everyone is on some sort of short form social media or maybe long form social media. Like I said, I did see a few people on the bus who were on YouTube, and it's also really interesting to see that a lot of them won't have headphones. So some of them do listen to it on loud, but a lot of them just don't listen to it with any sound. So you have to, as the creator, account for that as well. So it was really interesting, kind of like a little bit of market research that I didn't even ask for, but that was a really interesting perspective and also an interesting reality check. So with that little rant and realization, which I always find very interesting, something as simple as riding the bus, you think about all of these things. I wanted to come on here and just share that the podcast frequency is going to be changing. It'll still be 2 episodes per week, Monday and or Wednesday and Friday, not Monday anymore every single week. Some weeks, yes, Monday, some weeks, no Monday. But let me know if you do like the Monday episodes, if you did like the Monday episodes, and if those resonated with you, if those were topics that you were interested in, if you are interested in more topics of second residency, citizenships, optimizing your taxes, living a global citizen lifestyle, banking in different countries all over the globe, traveling the world, then my YouTube is probably going to be the place for you more so than this podcast. This podcast, we dive into so much more on the business side of things and just the general travel lifestyle on our Wednesday and Friday episodes. But if you really want the actionable takeaway tips and how to do things and different residencies and citizenship programs, then that will be on my YouTube, which is linked below. So that is the update. That is what has been going on. We are in Peru for one more week. And like I said, I did not expect to enjoy Peru as much as we have. We've been traveling in Latin America for over a year now, and probably Peru is my favorite country. I eat a lot of fish. I love fish. So this is the place to be if you want ceviche, fish. Like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But maybe I will do another episode just about Peru. And I have a whole video on YouTube if you do want to check that out, because did not expect to love Peru so much. And then I am flying to Paraguay for a month, going to do some work, meet up with my contacts while I'm there. I'll film some really informational videos that'll be on my YouTube as well. And then heading to Mexico and probably just going to chill in Mexico. I have been wanting to join the tennis club in Mexico for quite a while and just like have more of a routine, continue to put out so much content. It's really time consuming to put out so much, especially long form content. So I think when we are just chilling in Mexico, I don't know how long we're going to be there for. We are just going to be creating so much content, we being my partner and I, for each of our respective businesses. We're going to be putting out so much content. So it'll be nice to travel less and to just be in one place, create content, go to the tennis club, go to the gym, like have awesome food while we're there. So that will be nice to just like chill and relax for a bit. We've been traveling for pretty much 3 years full time at this point and have not stopped for too long for more than a month. So it'll be nice to have a little reset. And then when we get back into traveling, I don't know if it's going to look the same. It might look different. We might have a home base somewhere and then travel from that home base. We might stay longer. Um, we might stay shorter. I don't think that's what we want to do, but I don't know. It depends where we are in the world. So we'll see what happens. But I love, and that's something I love about this lifestyle. And why I wanted to create this lifestyle for myself is because I love the unpredictable. I love not knowing what the future is going to look like except for the next 3 months. And that is a future that I want for myself and that I want that unpredictable lifestyle. That's what I love personally. I know that's not for everybody, but that is what I like. So I like to keep the plans pretty open and free and just kind of like whatever happens, happens. We're pretty open to any opportunities that may arise, whether it be business or connecting with friends who are elsewhere in the globe. Like who knows what will happen? But that is the lifestyle by design. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it gave you a few thought provoking thoughts to think about. And then also just a little life update, podcast update of what has been going on. It's the holiday season. So I will be continuing to release the Wednesday and Friday episodes throughout the holiday season and into 2024. So thanks for joining me here. If you do want to connect, have any questions, want to chat, all my links are below. If you want to check out my YouTube, that link is also below. And I will see you in the next episode. You've just listened to the Work, Wealth, and Travel podcast. If anything from this episode resonated with you, I would appreciate if you share this podcast on your socials. And of course, be sure to tag me. And don't forget to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for joining me on this global citizen journey, and I'll see you in the next episode.